When the wealthy man learned that one of the women, Iris, was a vegetarian, he offered her $10,000 to eat the steak in front of her. This was an easy chance to make money. Without hesitating, Iris decided to eat the steak, mainly because it smelled so good. The wealthy man kept his word and handed her the $10,000 through his butler. Next, the wealthy man noticed an older man, Conway, sitting nearby who wasn't drinking alcohol, only water. When he asked him why, Conway explained that he used to be an alcoholic and it had ruined his life, causing his wife to leave him. So, he had been sober for 16 years and had no intention of drinking again. The wealthy man, thinking Conway just wanted money, made him an offer, $10,000 if he drank a bottle of expensive wine, Lafitte. At first, Conway refused, saying not even $100,000 could get him to break his sobriety. But when the wealthy man increased the offer to $50,000, Conway surprised everyone by taking the bottle, saying he wasn't doing it for the money, but because he was thirsty. He drank the wine. After these little moments, the wealthy man announced that it was time for the main event he had prepared for the group of 8. The staff cleared the tables, and the man explained why he had invited them all. According to him, everyone there was struggling with money in some way, and he wanted to help. He promised that no one would leave empty-handed if they participated in a game. The winner would even receive a grand prize of $1 million. The game was simple. The man gave an example to explain the rules. Once the game started, no one would be allowed to quit without facing a penalty. As the game progressed, the tasks would get harder, but the rewards would also increase. The man emphasized that players would need to make their choices within 15 seconds, or they'd be eliminated. He reassured them that this was a legitimate game, he held it every year, and past winners had all left with $1 million. Before starting, the wealthy man gave everyone a final choice. They could leave now if they didn't want to play, and a special car would take them home. However, once the game began, they would have to continue until the end. The older man, Conway, thought about leaving but changed his mind, saying he wasn't staying for the money, but for the challenge. Seeing everyone eager to play, the wealthy man was thrilled. He then signaled for the game to start. A machine covered with a black cloth was brought out. It was connected to a car battery, with one end attached to a collar. The wealthy man explained that this device, once worn on a person's head, would send a high voltage of electricity into their brain. The first shock of the game hit Conway, the older man, who cried out in pain. Shocked and in pain, Conway tried to leave by offering the $50,000 he had just earned. However, leaving the game halfway through was against the rules. The wealthy man had already warned them, and without hesitation, his butler shot Conway on the spot, killing him. He had lost both the money and his life. The rest of the group, now terrified, had no choice but to sit quietly and wait for the next round of instructions. After Conway's body was dragged away, the wealthy man calmly signaled for the game to continue. He then started a 15-second countdown. The butlers, wearing insulated gloves, placed the shock collar on another player, a young man named Dr. Barden. The wealthy man explained that Dr. Barden had 2 choices. He could press the red button to shock another player, a woman named Amy, or press the blue button to shock himself. When the countdown began, Dr. Barden chose to press the blue button, shocking himself rather than hurting Amy. The shocks were intense, and while most people could only handle one shock, enduring a second could cause serious harm. Just after Dr. Barden finished his turn, the timer reset and the device was moved to Amy. Without hesitation, Amy pressed a button and shocked another player, an older woman named Linda, nearly knocking her out. The collar was then passed to another player, a muscular man named Peter. Linda, knowing she couldn't handle another shock, chose to pass the pain on to Peter. Their choices amused the wealthy man, and as a reward, the shocks switched to the opposite side of the group. A blonde man, Travis, showed no mercy and pressed the blue button, shocking himself and sparing his companion. Finally, the collar was placed on Iris, and as the countdown began, a curly-haired man named Lucas made a reckless decision. The 2 shocks he received knocked him unconscious, but after a few slaps, he woke up, disoriented but alive. With everyone having taken their turn, the first round of the game was complete. During a brief break, the wealthy man's son entered the room and warned the players that the first round was just the beginning. The challenges would get much more dangerous from here on out. As he spoke, the butlers rolled out waterproof plastic sheeting to cover the entire room. They were preparing for the second round, where things would get bloody. Once the room was prepped, the wealthy man returned and announced the start of the second round. For this round, an ice pick was handed to Iris. She had 2 choices. She could either stab the person next to her with the ice pick, or she could whip Travis 3 times with a rhinoceros hide whip. Iris chose the whip. However, when she delivered the first strike, the wealthy man stopped her, saying it wasn't hard enough. She had no choice but to whip Travis with more force. The whip, made from tough rhino hide, left 3 bloody gashes on Travis's back. Next, it was Lucas's turn. Like Iris, he chose the whip instead of the ice pick, fearing that stabbing someone would cause uncontrollable bleeding. He whipped Travis as well. Just when Travis thought the worst was over, the wealthy man, unhappy with the light strikes, ordered his butler to add 3 more whips, bringing the total to 9 brutal lashes. Travis's back was already a bloody mess after enduring 9 lashes, and he was on the verge of passing out. Next, 2 options were handed to Peter, the muscular man. He could either continue whipping Travis or use an ice pick to stab Linda, the older woman who was already paralyzed from the waist down. Peter figured that Travis was close to his limit, and since Linda couldn't feel her legs, he thought a stab wouldn't be too harmful. However, Peter underestimated his own strength. When he brought the ice pick down, it pierced Linda's artery, causing serious bleeding. In her pain and anger, Linda tried to take revenge by stabbing Amy, the younger woman. Unfortunately for her, the stab caused even more damage to herself, leaving her in even worse condition. When it was Amy's turn to choose, the wealthy man gave her a surprising bit of mercy, telling her that she could stab anyone she wanted. Without hesitation, Amy chose to stab Iris, piercing her kidney. The wealthy man seemed unimpressed, noting that women always seem to target other women. Eventually, Travis, who had suffered through the brutal whipping, couldn't hold on any longer and died from his injuries. At the same time, Linda bled out and also died. While the wealthy man and his butler discussed how to deal with the bodies, the remaining players tried to fight back. A small rebellion broke out as they attacked the bodyguards, but the wealthy man quickly regained control by threatening to kill Dr. Barden, another player, if they didn't stop. After this chaotic moment, only 4 players remained alive: Iris, Lucas, Amy, and Peter. The wealthy man announced that they were now in the final stage of the game. For this round, the man's staff brought out a large wooden barrel filled with water and gave each of the 4 players an envelope containing a mystery punishment. The players had a choice. They could either choose the water barrel and try to hold their breath underwater for 2 minutes, or they could pick the envelope and take whatever punishment was inside. The water barrel was a known challenge, but the envelope held an unknown fate. Peter, knowing he didn't have great lung capacity, chose to go with the envelope. When he opened it, the card inside revealed his punishment. He had to hold a lit firecracker in his hand until it exploded. At first, Peter seemed relieved, thinking it was a small firecracker. However, the firecracker turned out to be a powerful explosive, more like a mini cannon. To make sure Peter didn't drop it out of fear, the wealthy man ordered the butler to tape it securely to his hand. With no other choice and surrounded by taunts from the wealthy man and the others, Peter lit the firecracker. He hoped it was a dud, but unfortunately, it wasn't. The explosive went off, blowing off Peter's left hand, and the intense pain sent him into shock. He died almost instantly. As his body was dragged away, it was Lucas' turn. Lucas also didn't trust himself to hold his breath for 2 minutes in the water, so he chose the unknown punishment in the envelope. His card had an eye symbol on it. The wealthy man explained that Lucas had to blind one of his own eyes while looking in a mirror. He could choose either his left or right eye, but if he didn't do it within 30 seconds, the butler would kill him. With no other option, Lucas painfully blinded his left eye. When it was Iris's turn, she decided not to risk the unknown punishment and chose the water barrel challenge instead. Her task was to hold her breath underwater for 2 minutes. To make sure she didn't try to cheat, the butler stood nearby, ready to assist her throughout the process. As the wealthy man set the 2-minute timer, his butler pushed Iris's head underwater, forcing her to hold her breath. At first, Iris seemed to manage well, but with only 30 seconds left, it became clear that she was struggling. The butler didn't let her come up early, but with sheer willpower, Iris managed to survive the full 2 minutes. Once she finished, she returned to her seat, and Amy was next. Amy knew she couldn't hold her breath for 2 minutes like Iris had, so she chose the envelope instead. However, when she opened her card, it had a picture of a wooden barrel and a rope. The wealthy man explained that this meant she had to hold her breath underwater for 4 minutes instead of 2. This was an extreme challenge, as even lasting 2 minutes was already difficult. The butler didn't waste any time. He pressed Amy's head into the water, and the timer began. As expected, Amy struggled. She barely made it to 1 minute before drowning. The challenge was too much for her, and she died on the spot. Now, only 2 people were left: Iris and Lucas. The wealthy man declared that the final game would be decided fairly by the flip of a coin. Heads meant Iris would go first, while tails meant Lucas would. The butler flipped the coin, and it landed on heads, meaning Iris would make the first move. The wealthy man presented Iris with 2 options. The first option was that she and Lucas could both leave safely, but they wouldn't win any money. The second option was more brutal. Iris could take the gun in the wooden box and kill Lucas. If she did that, she would win the game and receive $1 million. A life-changing amount of money that could solve all her problems. However, Iris wasn't just thinking about herself. Her brother was dying from cancer, and she desperately needed the money to pay for his treatment. Faced with this impossible decision, Iris had no choice but to do what she believed was necessary to save her brother.